Welcome back to Keep On Creating. I'm Mike, this is my t-shirt printers. Let's create something. So if you're new here, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down here and ding the bell so you know when a new episode has landed. And then go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you. So today we're jumping back into Illustrator for another Adobe Illustrator tutorial. And in this tutorial that we're going to be doing today, we're going to be doing a t-shirt graphic. So a t-shirt graphic in Illustrator, vector goodness, and you're going to be able to create it yourself. Now listening to a few comments, I have tried to slow myself down a bit, really tried hard to slow myself down a bit. Just remember you can hit that pause button, do a bit, create a little bit, and then move on to the next step when you're ready. Also, what I focused in on this tutorial is a lot of repetitiveness. So you're going to be doing a lot of like repeating. So when you're flipping something, you're going to know that that's O flip, O flip, O flip. So basically you will be repeating a lot of steps over and over and over, and you're just going to become a creative genius, a graphic designer genius. Let's jump in. Okay, let's start off with getting a new document open. So up here where it says Illustrator, just head over to File, drop down to New, and we get a new page up that we can select. Now I'm going to make this 500 by 500. It's already in there, and let's just label this Illustrator shirt graphic. Okay, so Illustrator shirt graphic, spelled right, and click over here where it says create. Then we get our page up. I'm just going to center that so we can see what we're doing. Right, so the first thing I want to do is just get some guides up. So I'm just going to go Command R, or you're going to go View Rulers, which is down here, and over here it actually says View Rulers. Mine's on Hide Rulers because obviously I've got my rulers up already. Okay, so I'm going to click and drag. Let's just drag in some guides roundabout to a central position. So I'm going to drag it over there, and I'm dragging a vertical one over here. Okay, now let's start by drawing a circle. So we're starting with doing the circle. So I'm just going to head up here to where my layers is, click on that to open it up. Let's just drag it in so we can actually see what we're doing, and let's start drawing that circle. So I'm going to hit L and get our ellipse tool up, which is this tool over here. You can see it says ellipse tool. Head to our central point, which is over here. I'm going to click and I'm going to drag while holding Alt and Shift. Now what Alt does, it drags from the center. Shift keeps it in proportion. So if I don't hold Shift, you can see I can start making ovals. I want this to be a really nice solid circle, so I'm going to click and drag it from there. Okay, so we've got our first circle in there. I'm just going to label this layer over here, so just double click that, and I'm going to type in circle. Okay, yep, we spelled these things wrong. Circle, there we go. So circle, we got a circle. Now I want a backup copy of this circle, so what I'm going to do with it selected over here, I'm going to simply click it and drag it to this little plus icon over here and drop it, and makes actually a copy. So for now, let's just hide that copy so that we've got it as backup. So concentrating on this first circle bit over here, let's start by getting in some text and just grow outwards from there. So I want some text going around the circle. Let's get our text tool up. So we're going to go over here to our text, and I'm going to click on this, hold it down, and I'm going to select this type on path tool. So I'm going to select that version over there. Now I'm going to hover around our circle over here, and I'm going to click so it actually snaps to that, and you can see it's given us a text that runs around that circle. So let's just start typing in here. Let's go keep on. Okay, now I want this central up here at this point over here. So how to do that is I'm just going to go Command A to select all my text. I'm going to head up here where it says paragraph, and I'm going to say align center. Okay, now I'm going to get my selection tool over here. I'm going to click on that. Now it gives us, you can see it gives us a little node over there, so we click and drag that up over there. Okay, and what you can do if you really want to, if you click these little nodes or these little brackets over here, you can actually click and drag them to the halfway point there and the halfway point over there. You don't have to do this, but it's better to do it if you're doing a lot of text and you just want it on the top half or the bottom half. So I'm going to select this keep on creating bit. So I'm just going to triple click it, select it all, and let's make it a bit bigger so we can actually see what we're doing. So I'm just scrolling up here, and let's choose a font for this. So I'm going to let's choose a nice square font that we can add to. So let's go Meccano, and let's make it this black version over here. That's cool. Okay, so with that in place, just triple select it again, and I'm going to widen out the tracking for this because I really want to space it out over this whole area of the top here. So what I mean by that is go to this tracking setting here. So it says tracking, And you're just going to scroll upwards, or you can just type in whatever you want. If you just scroll, you can get an idea of where you want to go with it. So you can see it's given us good spacing in between these letters over here, which I'm looking for. Okay, so with that done, let's make another duplicate of this circle text. Let's just enable this circle text 1, okay, because obviously we're going to need another set of this. So I'm going to click this and I'm going to drag it and drop it over this little plus icon over here, and let's just label the top one now circle text 2, because it's going to be easier to select that. Now I'm going to head over here to my pointer tool, okay, and you can see it clicks and it changes everything. Now I know we can't see it, but if I head over here to my central point, it gives us this little up arrow with that horizontal line on it. I'm going to click. When it shows me that, I'm going to click and I'm going to drag it all the way around to the other side. I'm going to make sure my cursor is on the inside of my selection of my circle. If it's on the outside, you can see it snaps to the text to the outside. We want it on the inside, so I'm going to do it there, and let's just snap it to the center over there and just drop it there. Now obviously my text is on the inside and we want it on the outside, so that's called your baseline. So we want to change the baseline of our text and put it onto the outside of the circle. So back up to my character palette, and you can see this little function over here is our baseline. So if I just head in here and scroll down, you can see it puts it to the outside of that circle. So I just want to right there, just where the N or the O is just skimming the top of our circle over here. And let's just change this text. I'm going to triple select it and type in creating. Okay, we've got our keep on and we've got our creating text in. So now I'm just going to deselect that. So I'm going to select over here, just get my select tool and just deselect it. So we've got our keep on creating bit. So the next stage is let's get the circle up here. Now because we've got our copy of a circle here in our layers, you can see if I switch that on, we've got a good central point, so it's not going to be off center and it's just easy to work with. So what we're going to do is make another copy of this layer. So I'm going to click that and I'm going to drag it over my little plus icon there and just make another copy of it. Switch one of them off, so let's just switch the top copy off and work with this one over here. So with my selection tool selected, I'm going to select my circle, I'm going to hit E, and I'm going to click and drag outwards, holding Alt and holding Shift, and so it scales from the center and in proportion. So let's just drop it over there. Okay, now you can see we've lost our text, and the reason why we've lost our text is because it's actually a white fill here. If you look over here, it's white and we've got a stroke of black. So if you just click on this none while our fill is selected, you'll see we can see our text again. Okay, so let's head up here to our stroke, and I'm going to select our stroke, and let's just make the stroke a little bit thicker. So I'm just going to widen it out. Let's make it nice and thick to about, yeah, let's make it to about there-ish. Okay, cool. That's 22 for me. And what I want to do is let's expand this line for the next stage I want to do later on. So I'm going to head up here to object. I'm going to drop all the way down to expand. I'm going to click on that and it says expand fill and stroke. That's exactly fine. So I'm going to click OK, and you can see it's now drawn a line to the outside of that stroke that we had. So that's no longer a stroke, that's actually more of a graphic line now. Let's start adding some central elements into here, and I'm going to get my text tool up again. So I'm going to hit T and go to the center around about here, and let's type in 20. I'm going to bring my tracking back in. So to bring your tracking back in, you just got to head back to your tracking, which is this little one over here. You see it says tracking, and I'm going to type in a 0. Now let's select a cool font for the middle of this one. I want something narrow and styled, so just use Clutch, I think it is. It's cool. Yep, Clutch Solid. And let's scale this up. So to quick scale, I'm just going to get my scale tool, which is E. I'm going to click on that one and go to a corner, hold down Alt and Shift and scale that right up. So I'm going to really make that biggish. Get my pointer tool back up with V, and I'm going to drag it to the center. I take it with this font that this is probably my central point over here, and I'm guessing that's about my central location over there. Okay, so let's play around with this circle bit over here. Let's break it up. So what I want to do is let's get our marquee tool up. So I'm going to hit M, which is this little rectangle tool over here. Make sure that's selected. I'm going to start at the center point over here in actual fact. So I'm going to click over here and I'm going to start dragging. Hold Alt again. This is exactly the same as a circle where you can drag out from the center. And I want to basically break this somewhere around, let's say somewhere around about here-ish. Okay, so I'm going to drop it over there. Now I'm going to get my selection tool again, which is V, or this little tool over here. I'm going to click that, hold Shift again, and select my outer circle. So I'm holding shift and selecting that outer circle. I'm going to get my Pathfinder up, and that is if you go window and you drop all the way down to Pathfinder and you just click on that, you should get a Pathfinder, which is this over here. So I'm going to look for this little one over here that's minus the front bit. So I hold Alt and I'm going to click on that, and you can see it minuses everything off there. Now make sure you do click expand before you deselect any of this, and you can see it takes away that entire block that was there, that little ghosted out bit. Okay, so now we've got this chopped up bit over here. Now what we want to do is let's get some text either side and here. So let's get just hit T to get our text tool, and let's just go TRD, and should we keep it that font? No, I actually want to make it to this font over here. So I'm going to triple select that, and let's just make it this Mecca again, so that stays the same there. Yeah, okay, cool. So with my pointer tool selected again, I'm going to hold Alt, click, and then drag. So you can see it's actually made a copy of that, and I'm going to drop it over here. And let's just go MRK. Okay, cool. Now let's work on this outer line over here to make it a little bit more appeasing to the eye, not such a harsh break over there. Obviously you can have a harsh break over there if you want, but let's just really style this design out. So I'm going to hit P to get my pen tool up, okay, which is obviously this tool over here. It's your pen tool. And I'm going to click within my circle, and I'm going to head towards this little bit over here, and you can see it actually snaps to that edge there. Now the great thing about it snapping to the edge there is that when you drawing, you're not going to end up with a little funny bit. If I had to draw it over there, you can see it's not centered to that bit over there. So if I just click inside my circle, drag it to the outside over there, and then it snaps, I can actually know that I'm not going to have anything funny happening over there. So I'm just drag it all the way to about here-ish. Okay, cool. And then I'm going to head back up here within my circle and just close it off. So you can see it gives us that little like 0 mark in there, and you know that is actually closing off your graphic. So it's actually making a closed item. Okay, so that's that little bit there. I'm going to click, I'm going to hold Alt, okay, and drag. I can hold Shift as well just to keep it in line, and I'm going to put it over here. Okay, I'm going to release it, and I'm going to push O. Okay, and O is this little reflection tool over here. Now from one side, so you can see where I'm placing my cursor, I'm going to click, I'm going to drag, but I'm going to hold down Shift, and you can see it actually snaps, and it snaps to the other side over there. So you can see my cursor was over here, and I'm dragging it in this way, and you can see it snapped and basically flipped it around. Now I'm going to get my selection tool up again, which is V, and I'm going to select this little node right here, so that little edge right there. I'm going to click on that point there, and I'm going to drag it until it snaps to that point over there. So you can see how it snaps, and that snaps to the exact same point as that there. Again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this bit over here, hold Shift, and select my other side over here. Now I'm going to hold down Alt, click, drag it downwards, okay. Reflection tool again, I'm going to hit O to get my reflection tool, which is this tool up here. That's a reflect tool. I'm going to start on whichever side you want to start on. I'm just going to start up down here. I'm going to click, hold Shift, and you can see it flips it around. Now with them still selected, so you can see I've got them both selected there. I'm going to get my pointer tool up again, or my selection tool, V, and I'm going to hover over here, and I'm going to click and drag. So you can see they're both moving, and I'm going to click and drag to that point over there, and it snaps in there. So you can see how much better that looks rather than that hard edge. So I'm just going to select those like that, and I'm going to take it away. So there's your hard edge, there's your soft edge with a little bit more graphics to it. Doesn't that look cool? Let's start adding in a few other elements in here. So let's draw a lightning bolt. Now this is going to be one of the easiest things to draw. So I'm just going to get my pen tool up, which is P, and let's just start. I'm going to zoom right in here so we can see what we're doing. Now just basically start drawing a lightning bolt. So I'm just going to click over here, click here, click here, click here, click here, click here, and click here. So that's my basic lightning bolt. It's not the most prettiest at the moment, but the great thing is because it's vector and easy to sort of these little nodes, we can just change it really easily. So I'm going to get my absolute select tool, which is A, which is this tool up here, and you can see it says direct selection tool, and I'm going to click on any node here. So you can click on each individual node and shape it however you want. Okay, what I'm actually going to do, I actually wanted to run parallel to this just to make it nice and appeasing to the eye. So I'm going to get my pointer tool up, again my selection tool. I'm going to click this, I'm going to rotate it, click R, and I'm going to put it over there. I'm actually going to flip it. So you remember what flipping is, you just hit O. I'm going to click and I'm going to drag it that way, rotate it again. Okay, cool. And I'm just going to drag it into about there. Okay, so with my direct selection tool again. I'm just going to select this little node over here and I'm going to drag it so it's kind of parallel to that line over there. So make those parallel, and that is cool. Okay, so you can see what I've done. I made it quite easy on the eye by making it just a little bit more parallel to that line over here. So they're just making a nice easy shape. So that looks cool like that. Okay, cool. So exactly what we did with these little outline bits over here, I'm going to select my lightning bolt. I'm going to click, hold Alt, drag it down while holding Shift, and I'm going to drag it just to this point over here. Now I'm going to hit O to get my reflection tool up. So I'm going to hit O, and I'm just going to click it, flip it, and I'm just going to get my pointer tool up again and just drag it into sort of position, which is about there. I'm going to have to make this one a little bit tighter because our text is a bit tight over here. So let's just make it somewhere around there. Okay, cool. Now what I'm going to do is select that one, select this one, just holding Shift while selecting my multiple objects, hold Alt, click, drag it all the way this way. Okay, I'm going to release it. Get my reflection tool, which is O, up again, which is, remember, it's this tool over here, my reflect tool. Click on this side, just drag across to that side, then in the opposite direction. Get my pointer tool up again, which is V, and I'm going to click and drag this in over here. I could actually do with making this a little bit tighter. So what I've done is just select, make sure we've got the right one selected. Selected my creating bit. I'm going to head over here to my tracking. I'm going to pull that in a little bit because I do actually want a bit more space for those bottom two. So I'm going to put it in to about there-ish. Okay, cool. And I'm going to select these two lightning bolts, so hold Shift and click my other one, so select multiple. I'm just going to use my down arrow and just knock that down a little bit so we kind of got the same sort of spacing between here and here. So it's just really cool. Okay, let's put some elements on this side over here and this side over here. Now I'm going to do, let's bring up our star tool. So you see this little tool over here. I'm going to click on that. Before I just select and drag, I'm going to double click. Okay, and that brings us up some options. So I'm going to set this on, grade this on 4 points. So I'm going to hit 4 points there. My inner radius, I actually want smaller than my outer radius. So radius 1, I'm going to take that down to, let's take it down to about 8, and my radius 2, which is my outer radius, I'm going to leave that at 20. Okay, I'm going to click OK, and you can see it just produces a star, and that's what I'm wanting. So I'm going to click and drag it. Let's just make it nice and central. So let's click and drag it to here. Okay, I'm going to rotate it in actual fact because it looks a bit odd like that, I think. So let's just do it this way, and holding Shift it snaps. I'm going to hit E to get our transform tool up, which is this tool over here. Hold Alt Shift and just drag it inwards, make it a little bit smaller. Okay, and am I happy with that position? Yeah, that's cool. So with it selected, I'm going to hold Alt, click, and drag it all the way to this side over here. Okay, so that's nice. I like the look of that. And let's just add some elements to the outside bits over here and here. So I'm going to get my ellipse tool up, which is L, okay, or it's this tool over here, which is your ellipse tool, and I'm going to click and just drag over here. I'm going to swap my fill and my stroke around, so I'm just going to hit Shift X, okay, or you can just go over here and just flip these around over here on your palettes, your tool palette, and we'll make this stroke a little bit thicker, drag it up there. Okay, I'm going to get my selection tool again, and I'm just going to position it where I'm sort of happy with it. So clicking Alt and holding Shift, so I'm just going to click and drag it over here, select both of those, holding Shift, click while holding Alt, and I'm going to put them up here. Okay, that's cool. Now because we've got these cool little bits on this font over here, these little like pointy bits, I'm going to actually add some of those pointy bits to our circle and all these other little elements. So how do we do that? Really easy. What I'm going to do is get my marquee tool up, which is basically the square or the rectangle tool. So M, or this tool over here, click and drag while holding Shift to make a nice square. I'm going to hit R to rotate it, okay, and I'm just going to snap it with holding Shift to that 90 degree. Get my pen tool up, which is P. I'm going to hover over one of these nodes so you can see it says minus. Click on that and it deletes one of those nodes. Now with my direct select tool, which is this up here, I'm just going to click on that little bit of my triangle and just take it up a tiny titch. And now we want to flip this around. So we don't want the stroke on the outside, we basically want a nice white fill. So all we do is just hit Shift and X, or you can just go over here and flip those around. So it flips them around like that. Okay. So let's make a copy of this. I'm going to hold Alt and just drag a copy over here. Now I want them to be kind of on my 45 points on my circle. So what I'm going to do, let's just guess this. I'm going to click over here and drag it. I'm going to push R to get my rotate tool up. hold shift and just rotate, and so I get my 45 snap over there. Okay, now with my pointer tool selected, I'm going to click and drag it into here. Okay, so somewhere around there, just tucking it in a little bit, which is cool. That's absolutely fine. So you can see it's a little bit off to where the actual center point is, so you can actually tell where that 45 is, because it should kind of match the outline of your circle to the outline of your circle there. Okay, zooming out a bit, I'm going to click, hold Alt and Shift and click it and drag all the way to this side. Hit O to get my reflection tool up, which is, remember, it's this tool over here. Click and drag any which way you want. So I'm just clicking from my right to my left to snap it around. I'm going to hit zoom in a bit here, click and drag while holding shift just so it gets to the outside point of that circle. So that's about there. So there's no white gap or anything. Okay, zoom out again. Select both of those again and hold Alt and Shift, drag down to the bottom. Hit O to get your reflection tool up and just click and drag from your bottom to your top. Okay, and get your selection tool up again and just drag it up. And I'm holding Shift again to make sure it just stays in line with everything. I'm just going to zoom right in here to make sure I get it nice and tight on that point. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that there. That's cool. So zooming out again, so you can see that's all starting to really look cool. Okay, now what I want to do is just work on these text bits over here. So I'm going to click and drag one of these in here. I'm going to zoom right in. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. So I'm going to hit E, okay, hold Alt and Shift and just drag that right the way in over there. Okay, so this is going to take a lot of rotating and moving and just duplicating things. So with my transform tool up, it actually gives me the option to rotate this without having to hit the rotate tool. You can see it's given me those two little arrows there, so you can just hit R and it gives you the rotate, or you can use that transform tool and when it gives you those little arrows like that. So I'm going to click and I'm just going to drag it. So let's just drag it to about there. Now this is where you're just going to have to, so you see it's a little bit off there, but it's not really going to be noticed. You can really tweak it if you want. So I'm just going to add that little element over there, hold Alt, drop it over here to get my rotate tool, R, rotate that, pop it in over here. Now, oops, I moved that. And I'm going to do exactly the same for this E over here. Just drop it over here, get my rotate tool, R. So this is just a lot of repetitiveness. I'm just going to go through all these little letters and do the same. Get my rotate tool, pop it over there, just tuck it in here so we don't see the white of it. Okay, do the same with this O. Now the O and the N, both of these, we could actually do a double up of these. So just rotating that again. So it's just duplicate. So it's click, drag, Alt, rotate. Click, drag, Alt, rotate. So I'm just going to do that on this side. Okay. I'm actually going to select both of those to make this quick and just rotate that. Somewhere around about there. Just rotate a little bit more. Okay, you can see a little white in there. I'm just going to drag it in. Okay, so you can see how much better that makes that font look. Okay, and let's do it along the bottom. So I'm going to click and drag that over here, and let's just rotate it there. Do the same with the R. The E. Okay, so it's just, this is where you become really efficient in clicking and dragging and rotating and using those quick keys. So you just holding Alt, hitting R, dragging it around, popping it there. Okay, and this one's going to be a very tight one over here. So I'm just going to rotate that, put it both sides of this T to rotate. Okay, that's cool. Okay. Oop, I moved it again. See, that one's a little bit off. What I'm actually going to do is rotate this round over here. Okay, rotate that there. And I'm going to do the same with, I can actually duplicate this one for the I. So I'm going to rotate that round over here. And the N, I know we had an N at the top, but let's just create this again. I'm just going to rotate that. Okay, and just drag this one over to this side. And then click and drag this over here. So my G. Cool. Okay. And should we do it on the trademark? Okay, cool. Let's just do it on the trademark quick. Make it just all match up. So I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to rotate that. Do the same on this side. So just go I'm just going to drag these quickly along here because this is going to be really quick to do this one. So drag it there, select this one, hold Alt, rotate it, click and hold Alt to go all the way to this side. Okay, cool. I'm going to select both of those. Hold Alt, drag it all the way across here. Boom. Just make that a little bit, space that a little bit wider. That's cool. And I'm going to put one here. And the problem is we may have an overlap over there. I'm actually going to leave the R out of that one, otherwise we're going to have a double join over here. And I think that M is just, now it's covering it up. Okay, cool. So we've got those elements in there now. Okay, so let's just tidy this up a bit. I'm actually going to bring these circles in a little bit, just to about there, likewise to the bottom, so it doesn't leave such an awkward gap over there. So if we wanted to add a little bit more to this, we could actually go back to our layers, just bring our circle up again. I'm going to make another duplicate of that by just dragging it to this layer over here, switch off the top one so we know we're working on this one here. With that selected, I'm going to flip this around. So I'm going to head over here to my colors little swatch palette, flip those around so I've got a white key line, and I'm going to take that fill out by clicking on this none over here. And I'm going to hit E, and I'm going to hold Alt and Shift and click and drag. So it basically goes all the way up there. I'm just going to try to find that central point so you can see how cool that looks with that going around. Now I'm going to select my line again, my circle. I'm going to hit C to get my cut tool up, or my scissors, which is this tool over here. You can see it says scissors, and I'm just going to make a cut mark over here, cut over here, cut over here, and a cut over here. Then I'm going to get my direct selection tool, which is this tool over here. Just select those bits that we don't want, which is this side and this side. Take those away. Only other thing maybe to do is just make this and make a nice little center part going through here. So what we could do, we could just go and draw this in if you wanted to. So we could get our pen tool up, master your pen tool, just click over here. What we can do is just click a solid square over there, come down to here, click here, here, and here. Now the cool thing about this, if we get our direct selection tool, select those two little points over there and just drag them in, you can see how we can make that easy, just around over there where we don't have to try and draw it or anything like that. And we can even do that with this little edge over here. So you can see I've just made that a little bit rounder over there. Likewise for this bit over here, I can basically just get my rectangle tool, which is M, and draw a square in here, or rectangle in here. Just move that to more of a central location over there. Okay, I'm just going to get my pointer tool up, a V, hold down Command, and you see it gives me those little nodes. Just click and drag them all the way in, and just center that out a little bit over there. So then that looks pretty sweet. So after I finished the tutorial, I actually came back to it and decided that the outer text, the text that runs on the top and the bottom, basically just needed to come in a little bit. So I took those two text parts, I held Shift and Alt, and just slightly brought them in a little bit, just to make them a little bit more connected, and as I keep on saying, more appeasing to the eye. So it just looked more connected, and it looks like this on a t-shirt, which looks awesome. If you've tried this tutorial, send me over a pic of what you've created to one of the social media channels listed here below, and don't forget to follow us on our social media channels listed over here. And with all of that, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, ding the bell, and I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out here.